Got the lookout hat.
Got the lookout hat, I got the
First aid kit. Okay.
All right, y'all. Let's do it. Our vacation rental faces wildfire threats from nearly every direction. To get a perspective on how fire might move up from below, we're going to ride our bikes down to an overlook just down a hill that looks over Hollywood Reservoir.
This is a good spot.
What a view.
This is old brush.
Big. Some of it's 15, 20 foot tall. That's every bit of 60, 70, 80 years old.
like this material here, because it's so dry here, stuff never decays, it just doesn't rot. And so at some point you've got more dead material in a bush than green material.
That stuff's probably skeletons from the last fire that was here.
Right, like 80 years ago.
Yep.
You have the wildland interfacing with an urban area, and you don't see much of a transition or a buffer between the two. It's almost like no transition.
Yeah, and then right down by that power pole, you got all the pines.
Palms.
Straight into just continuous structures aligned with the wind in the canyon.
Yep.
So what do you do though, Southern California? Like, do you cut down the palm trees?
You have to. You have to get rid of those things. They're a menace.
But then do you cut down all the pine trees? Do you cut down all the cypress? Do you cut, like, where does it end?
Well, you got to think about, like, what would a Santa Ana wind do in this canyon right here? I mean, Tim, what kind of flame wings would you expect?
80-foot flames would not be unusual in a 20-mile-an-hour wind.
Yep.
And 20 miles an hour is not that much.
I always used to go 15 feet for grass flame lengths, 30 feet for coastal sage scrub, which is like stuff that's knee level or below. And brush, I would use 60 feet, just as a frame of reference. And so if we look at 60 foot to 80 foot or 100 foot flame lengths,
For direct flame impingement.
you have to have a buffer between your house and these wildlands. What you're seeing here is you don't really see that buffer between the wildlands and the homes.
Nothing.
And that little buffer zone is incredibly important.
None of these places have adequate defensible space given the potential fire behavior. Like
None.
And these places you can't even see the house because there's so much brush. People just think this is the way it's supposed to look. And it's like, well, this is the way it's supposed to look minus the houses, right?
Yeah.
If there were no houses here, fires would burn this, it would recover naturally, and it would be beautiful and natural and
Productive.
absolutely, yeah, productive. The fire is in the DNA, right? This is fire's home.
I mean, even if you did mastication, and 10 years from now, you won't be able to even tell the difference.
Right.
And even if you burned it, same. Because this stuff is really resilient. It comes right back.
From the hottest fire you can imagine.
Imagine. Yeah.
So that's the way this is supposed to go, right? Like you don't have little underburns, like you don't have low severity fires in most of the systems.
No, it's high severity, stand replacement. 20 years, it looks the same as it did at zero.
One of the issues here for these property owners may be that they may not own the property that would be needed to actually give them enough of a buffer between the wildlands.
And then often the adjacent owner in a place like this is a conservancy because they bought the land to protect it from development. And so then telling a conservancy that has a mission of environmental preservation that you have to cut the chaparral so the development can basically expand into the preserve, that's a tough sell. And in a landscape where the vegetation has traditionally been managed for free by fire, when you remove fire as a management tool, it's incredibly expensive, and most of the conservancies that manage land and state agencies that manage wildland don't have the budget to do this work. All those things contribute to the problem.
But on the more positive side, so there is opportunity, but it has to be self-initiated by the homeowners here. I've worked on a lot of projects where a neighborhood like this all got together, understood the hazard, and found ways to work with the adjacent property owner. There's opportunities to work with fire safe councils, working with the property owners and the adjacent landowners. And there is a lot of challenges, but there's also a lot of opportunity, but it really needs to be initiated by the homeowners. I've done a whole bunch of these communities where, they all team together and they've kept it going for 10 years.
People need to know that if they move into a place like this, they're committing to a constant relationship with vegetation.
You just nailed it.
Yeah, we need to shift their perception of what landscaping actually is supposed to be like.
I mean, there's no doubt that living in these beautiful places. They're serene. You get to listen to the birds sing in the mornings. You have hawks flying over, you have lizards and snakes. I mean, it's fantastic, but there's a price to pay. That's what people don't get.
So what you're talking about is there needs to be a frame or a rethinking about people's relationship with the environment that they're living in. And so if you live in a wildfire area, wildfire needs to be on your mind every single year. At the beginning of fire season, you need to do the work to prepare your home.
Well, we need to make it sexy, right? We're in Hollywood.
Yeah.
We need to make like vegetation management and fire resilience sexy. My top 3 tips for homeowners would be maintain your house, keep it freshly painted, don't allow rotten wood to persist on your house, don't have flammable things near your house or up against your house, and take care of the vegetation.
When you look at fire hazard, there is the idea of the intensity of the fire plus the probability, and the probability is there going to be a fire here? In most places in California, there probably is, but you never really know when that fire is going to impact your home. So you have time, but you got to start today.
Jason Brooks from Fireside's coming today. They're using their software in Marin County to track structure threat to help people assess their fire hazard. We're going to use their software and assess the hazard.
There's over 50 plus different types of vulnerabilities that each house potentially could have. One of the issues for homeowners is it's super overwhelming. What this assessment application does is it provides them that professional trained assessment and then gives them a list of what specific vulnerabilities they have in a nice report format so that they can take action. And the idea behind it is that you don't have to do it all in one time, but maybe just starting off, prioritizing, and then getting your house done comprehensively.
All right, he's here. Let's welcome him. Hey, Jason Brooks.
See ya.
I'm Tim.
You actually found this place.
It took me a little while. So I'm Jason Brooks. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Fireside.
What do you think of this place so far since you've walked in?
Do a few things to make it more fire resilient.
Yeah.
We provide software that's used by the fire departments and the fire agencies and really helps them engage their residents and understand what each property needs to do to make that home resilient to wildfire.
I think most homeowners really want to do the right thing, and they really do want to make those mitigations to save their homes. A lot of this stuff costs money, and so you have to give them the information to make that decision, and part of that is understanding the hazard.
It's a huge part. We're all making decisions. We sort of think, do I want to change my landscaping or change my kitchen? I mean, those are like real human decisions, right? I mean, then a lot of people are like, I use my kitchen every day, you know, and so that's part of a lot of I think the challenge for
The bang for the buck, right?
Yeah, and it's a systematic change, right? And we're working our way through it.
I'm Jeff Kleiser.
I'm Diana Walzak, Hollywood Sign Chalet.
Hollywood Sign Chalet.
It's a unique spot, and everybody that comes in just says, "Wow, I've never been in a place like this." It's kind of like a tree house, you know, because it's high up. You have a nice view. It's all wood inside. It feels like it's up in a tree somewhere, you know.
Good morning. My name is Denny.
Hey, Denny, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Jason.
Jason, good to meet you guys.
Yeah, likewise.
So Jeff, this morning we're going to do a wildfire risk assessment on your property here. So we're going to tell you a little bit about the wildfire hazard you have and your exposure, your home's exposure to that hazard. We're going to walk around your house and look at all your wildfire vulnerabilities, and then we're going to look at the mitigations you have in place and maybe make some suggestions on things you can do to help reduce your risk.
While we're doing that, as he's talking, I'll just be recording things here, and at the end we'll give you a very personalized, customized report that you can access and see all the different things we
Superb.
talk about today. So
Okay, great. We're very concerned about fire here, of course, in the canyons.
So we have 3 primary zones. The farthest zone out from 30 feet to 100 feet, that first zone is zone 2. What you want to do is reduce your fuels down so that when the fire hits that area, we want the fire to go down to the ground. We want the fire intensity to be reduced. So that way that when it gets towards your house, there's no longer a fire affecting your house. Zone 2, we're reducing the fuel load, reducing the intensity. When we get into zone 1, so that 5 to 30 feet, we don't want to have any combustibles in there that will catch fire and create an exposure to your house. We found that most ornamental or a lot of ornamental vegetation will actually catch on fire. So the strategy we use, and especially in zone 1, is we want to make sure that if you do have plants, that they're properly spaced, that we've removed all the dead and dying material.
Dead leaves would be a real no-no, right?
Correct. Yeah.
You got a lot of that.
And that gets us into the last zone. It's what we call the ember resistant zone, and that's the zone between 0 and 5 feet away from your house. And that's a zone where you definitely do not want to have any combustibles.
Right.
We're looking at the deck that you have, and the deck you have is wood, so that's combustible. Our objective here is not to have your deck catch on fire. So our recommendations here is that you remove everything from underneath it.
In case somebody drops a cigarette or something.
Or just those, if those
Correct.
embers are blowing the wind, right?
Yeah,
Think
yeah.
about that windy day and
Yeah.
blowing and catching underneath that, right?
Yep. The best thing to do is remove all of that vegetation, and then you want to have a non-combustible ground cover so that there's nothing at all that can catch fire and affect your deck.
Mm-hmm.
You also want to bring back your tree limbs 5 feet, a minimum of 5 feet away from your house. And then you need to make sure that you're raking up those leaves on a regular basis. And especially, you know, when you have a Santa Ana event, you want to get out ahead of time and make sure you've cleaned up.
That's a full-time job, cleaning up those leaves. That's the problem.
We've covered zone 2. The zone 1, 5 feet out to 30. We really would like to see nothing that's combustible. And you've got all of this dead and dying leaves and stuff that we need to clean up. Palm plants right there, you can see all the dead and dying material at the base. Those things just catch embers really well. And if you have something like that catches on fire, you have your wooden beams for your roof that, you know, that could transmit fire to your roof beams, which could transmit fire to your house.
This ability to catch the embers and just get underneath it, right? It's going to receive it, and then that's becomes a huge problem.
So flashing that would be a really good thing to help reduce that vulnerability from embers.
Gotcha.
Zone 0, from 0 to 5 feet out, you don't want to have anything that's combustible that can transmit the fire that comes from away from your house to your house.
Yeah.
So this right here is wood lathing.
Well, we were going to replace this all with just a metal fence, a fence of some sort. This is asking for trouble, I'm sure.
That's perfect, yeah. So anything that's attached to your house within 5 feet, you want to make sure that it's non-combustible. And metal is a great option. Embers, if you think of it like a sandstorm, you know, embers are everywhere when you have really strong winds, and they're looking for opportunities to get into your house. And your house is a combination of combustible wood siding, and then you also have stucco. So you definitely want to concentrate on the sides of the building that have this combustible wood. Embers, when they hit the ground, tend to pile up and move. So move and pile up against your house. So anything at a bare 6 inches or below that's combustible can be a problem. Something like this, you could replace a portion. So a portion of this with something that's not combustible, a flashing or something else like that. So when the embers pile up against the combustible surface, you have some sort of non-combustible thing there. Now let's talk about some of your structural vulnerabilities to wildfire. Luckily for you, this roof right here is a composite roof, and so it looks to be Class A, which is a really good thing. You said you recently replaced it?
Just last year, yeah.
So that's perfect. This is a mitigation that we recommend, and so we would give you a plus sign for having a good, what we call Class A. And Class A roof is able to withstand a minimum amount of wildfire. You also need to consider maintenance. You need to get this vegetation at least 5 feet away from your building. The other thing that I'm looking at is your fascias right here. You can see that there's a deterioration of the wood that's created some gaps. And so those gaps are opportunities for embers to get in there, and if they have generated enough heat, they can actually catch that fascia board on fire.
So either replace this wood or seal it.
Seal it, correct.
The fires, I think, it really opened up people's eyes. I'm very concerned about some of the things that he mentioned, which was all the dried, dead leaves that are precipitating from the trees around here. They fall all day long and all night long, and so trying to figure out how to keep them away from the house is a real challenge.
We feel for homeowners, people are really craving information in a simple way, in a way that makes them feel like they can do something about their situation.
The catch-all for thinking of like keeping your house from burning down is that a house is like a wooden boat. A wooden boat takes a ton of maintenance, and if you don't maintain and paint and scrape and caulk the cracks and everything on your boat, it sinks. And the house is the same way. If you have gaps and cracks and your eaves are coming apart,
embers get in there and they sink your house.
I think that's it.
Okay.
On the next episode, we head to Pacific Palisades. We'll be looking for clues as to why the fire spread so quickly and so destructively within the urban area.